very good FA Cup final. And Hatchin! What a magnificent goal!
Good evening and welcome to In My Opinion with me, obviously Stuart Rendell. I'm not at the tavern, as you can see. I am at home in my room. Hope everybody's well. It's been a while since I've done a In My Opinion with, so I hope everybody's well and ready for the questions. Before we do get into the questions, just remember where you can find us. It is scrolling down at the bottom. We are available on X or Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. We are on YouTube. We're live on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram right now. So if you're one of them, please go and like and subscribe. Please go and like us and please go and share. If you listen to us on podcasts, please go and rate us 5 stars. We are available on all podcasts, Amazon, Spotify, iTunes, and wherever else that you get your podcasts from. Also, we are partnered with the Antidote Sports Bar at the CBS Arena and also partnered with the Sky Blue Tavern this year as well. And we're sponsored again by White Steel Fabrications. He can do your steel fabrication work up and down the country, but mainly in the Coventry and Warwickshire area. So, good evening, everyone. I hope everybody's well. In my opinion, with again, obviously, like I said, it's been a while since I've done one of these. So please get your questions in. Please get your thoughts in on anything Coventry City. And I will try and share shout outs, happy birthdays, whatever it may be. I'm here to do it for the next hour and a bit. If you guys are free. So like I said, send your questions in to YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Or wherever else that you are watching from. So thank you very much. So the first ones are coming in. Thank you. Glenn, the Sky Blue Hub, says, hurry up. I was a little bit late getting on, but I wanted to make sure that everything was working properly, and I hope it is. Joshua has said, first time in a long time, I remember us being all over the shop as a club. Doug Robbins and the fans seemingly singing off different hymn sheets. What needs to change? Well, I think there's a lot, to be fair, from top to bottom. I don't think anybody can really put their finger on what's going wrong at the moment. It's just a difficult time, isn't it? It's a difficult watch. Players don't seem to be performing really. It's just very hard, isn't it? You know, to put your finger on things. Do I want to see Robbins go? No, probably not. I would like him to stay. But again, I was on CWR yesterday with Rob and Clive and Anthony Hornsby. Good to see Anthony again. And yeah, it was, nobody could really put their finger on what was wrong. But yeah, I've just pretty much mentioned that, Glenn, to be fair. Glenn's just asked, does changing the manager actually fix our problems? Probably not at the minute. As I've said many times before, if you want a manager to try and get you out of this situation, who do you bring in? And you probably bring Robbins in if you haven't got him already. I think he will turn it around. He's done it in the past, but it's just the third year that he's done it in the past, and it just gets harder and harder to get over the fact from this slow start. We had a pre-season that was brilliant, and it was meant to set us up for a phenomenal, well, not a phenomenal start, but a better start than we have in the past, and it just didn't go that way, has it? Really, from the word go, from Stoke, first game of the season, we've just been struggling, and it's hard to get over the top with games now. Like the Blackburn game. I mentioned to Glenn when we sat down in the anecdote on Saturday, and I said, look, we've got to wait and see, because at the moment we're playing like a cup side. You know, we played well in 1 in 4 games, and it's just not good enough. You know, yes, the manager puts the players out there, and he sets up the tactics and he sets up how to play, but it's struggling. You know, and the players need to start stepping up, because you know, I think there was a caller on CWR after the game that I heard. You know, and he said these, and there was somebody that actually spoke on or wrote into Rob on CWI, and he said these players are going to get Robins a sack, which it seems like it's going to happen. So, you know, everybody's got to start stepping up from top to bottom. You're in Cov fan, thank you very much. He said, I spoke well on CWR. What's Clive's and Rob's view on it? Well, obviously, Rob, he's just struggling with how poor and how, you know, we can go from playing well against Blackburn to playing poor against who we've just played. It's gone out of my head. Sheffield Wednesday. You know, and it's difficult, and you can't understand why. You know, Clive's a little bit more of the opinion that he doesn't think Saturday was as bad as other games that we've played, such as Swansea, maybe even Stoke and other games like that, I suppose, Norwich, Leeds, you know, but it's getting more and more difficult to get excited about going to games, and that's what I want to do. I want to get excited about going to games, but it is getting harder. Ben, thank you, Ben, for coming on YouTube. Glenn's on Facebook as well, so thank you very much. What 3 things would you do in the next 2 weeks before Preston away to change things? What 3 things? What 3 things? Try and get a bit of camaraderie going together with the players. Get the players to know each other a little bit more. Just get them playing as a side. It's really, really difficult to say, you know, what 3 things would you do? I'd get them working harder for one. But look, I'm sure that they're doing all this anyway. It's difficult to name 3 things of what to do, because the honest answer is I don't know. Nobody knows what to do. Nobody knows really what's going wrong. They just need to be more consistent when they cross that white line, really. Sky Blue Sam, thank you very much on YouTube, said, would Adi and Dennis coming back fix things, or is there more to be fixed? It's a good question. It would be an interesting one if they did come back and things did start turning around. You know, but look, we was in this position, you know, 2 seasons ago when we had AD and we had Dennis. We was in the same position last season with a slow start when we had AD and Dennis. So I don't want to say that it's the norm, but is it just the norm that Coventry have slow starts? I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe we just do have slow starts, and it's something that we've got to get used to. We just, whatever happens, we just build into the season. Maybe that's what's going to start. You know, maybe that's going to be the norm rather than the exception. I hope it isn't. You know, because we all want fast starts. But as long as it's not about how you start, is it? It is about how you finish. And you know, we've got to make sure that we do start turning things around and start playing better. Like I said, consistency. At the minute, we're not consistent anywhere. You know, Robins isn't consistent on his substitutions and his strategy. You know, and the players certainly aren't being consistent when they're on the pitch. So it's difficult. Alan Arkins, thank you very much, Alan, for coming on YouTube. Some of the players need a right kick in the arse. There are players who are not pulling their weight. Yeah, definitely. And I'm not going to. People know my feelings on certain players, but yeah, I think you're right, Alan. I think all of them need a good kick up the arse, and they need to look at themselves in the mirror. And if they don't want to play for the club and they do want to move, then they need to start playing, and they'll get that move that they want. So it's annoying. It is annoying. Glenn says, I agree with Clive that Saturday wasn't a horror show people made out, just a kick in the teeth the way we lost. If we drew, we'd have something to build on for Preston. Yeah, it's probably the way. Look, if you could go back and have this conversation on, Wednesday, when after the Blackburn game, we'd be singing a different tune, wouldn't we? It's just the fact that the inconsistency is there for everybody to see, and it's a little bit annoying, really. Joshua said, thank you again, Josh, on YouTube. Would a change of system benefit us in the long run? No, I don't think so. I don't want to see us changing formations and things like that. I think we became too easy to play against when we played a back three. I would perhaps maybe play Eccles as a right back and push Milan further up. That's one change that I wouldn't be against if I saw it, because we know how good that Eccles is playing right wing back. He's done it in the past. Maybe having him as a right back and pushing Milan up, when we've got Torp, we've got Sheaf, we've got Radoni that can play in that central three if needed. We've got Latti. He plays that again. I've mentioned Latti several times on our podcasts and stuff that we do. Latti plays central midfield for Jamaica. I'm not sure why he doesn't want to play him in central midfield for Coventry. I think is a little bit of a steal that we need maybe in there. I'm not saying that he's the greatest in that position, but I think he'll do a job, and he's done the job in the past. And he's played well there in the past, just as much as he's played poorly in the past. So, I think that's an option, maybe. They're coming in thick and fast now. Thank you very much. Alan's also said we had reasons for slow... Oh, sorry. Let me go back. We had reasons for slow starts last year and the year before, but no excuses this year. Yeah, look, I'm not trying to make excuses for them. We shouldn't have any excuses this year. I've just seen a comment that Glenn's put, sorry. But like I said, maybe it's just what Coventry City do, Like I said, it's not about how you start, it's about how you finish. Come Christmas time, after Christmas, let's see where we are, and let's hopefully we can push on, and we'll have to wait and see. I'm going to put that comment up, Glenn. Haji Wright is fantastic. He's also said our American nightmare is my nightmare for sure, and I just wish he was more consistent, and I wish he wasn't as lazy on that left-hand side. You play him up front where he hasn't got to track back as much, I think you might see a different Haji Wright. But at the moment, for me, I don't want him on that left. He doesn't offer us enough for me on that left-hand side. And I'm sure that question will come up again sooner or later. Ben's also said Blackburn wasn't as great as people made out, and Sheffield Wednesday wasn't as bad as people made out. Yeah, I still think we played well against Blackburn. It wasn't a poor performance. We just took our chances, and we didn't against Sheffield Wednesday. So I don't know. Blackburn, I thought Blackburn was a good game. I thought we played well. We dominated for most of it. Blackburn was poor, if I'm honest. I was expecting a bit more, considering that they were unbeaten in the league up to that point. But yeah, it's difficult. It's a difficult one. Sky Blue Sam, thank you very much. Eccles right wing. No, I wouldn't play him right wing. I would have him as right back. I'd play him behind Milan while Sakamoto's out. I think that could work quite well, to be fair. The more I'm thinking about it, the better it sounds. Russ, thank you very much. Russ on Facebook. Mentally drained supporters can PLAU. What does that mean? Sorry, Russ. You'll have to tell me on that one. Sorry, mate. Sky Blue Sam, Just go for hard working side that will run and run. Yeah, wouldn't mind that. As Schiltz, thank you very much. As Latabodier isn't a championship standard player. I beg to differ slightly. He's been in the championship a long time now, for different clubs, not just Coventry, for different clubs. If he weren't good enough, would he get called up for Jamaica? You know, there's question marks there. I like Latty. I just wish he could nail down a permanent spot somewhere. He's not tall enough for centre half, but I think he'd do a great job at central midfield with Sheaf. I really do, but we'll have to wait and see. Sky Blue Sam, Latty wipes out Sheffield Wednesday player for the second goal. Yeah, exactly, that sort of thing, you know. And it's just not happening in the minute, and it's frustrating. Martin Bissell on YouTube, thank you very much. How long do you think Doug King will give Mark Robins to turn it around? Look, if we lose the next two and we go into Luton at home, you know, people, you know, and Luton lose their next two going to us away. You know, people have said that that's El Sacchio, ain't they? You know, and the manager to lose that game will be sacked. It could happen. I think Doug will give him a little bit longer. I think Doug will probably give him till December and see where we are, you know, come January transfer window and see what happens. But the honest, again, I don't know. Look, I don't want Robins to go. I'm not in that camp. I want Robins to stay. I think he's the man to get us out of this. As I mentioned at the start, you know, if you're looking for a manager to get you out of this situation, it would be Robins. So I think we've got to stick behind him, you know, and it's the players that have got to sort it out, you know, on that pitch. Yes, I think Robins can make substitutions and things like that faster, and more in-play decisions faster. But again, it's a hard call. It's a hard call to try and get rid of Robins. Alan said, I think Robins needs to get Roy Keane in to give them a talking to. Yeah, it needs to be sort of that sort of thing, doesn't it, I think? Steve McLaren, another international man, will pick him at central midfield, but Robins won't. Yeah, it's exactly what I've just said. I think he'll do a job there, personally, and I don't know why he's not playing him there. I think he would have, you know, been the perfect replacement because we haven't signed anybody. I think he would have been the perfect person to replace Sheaf in that position. He can't do what Sheaf does. Not many midfielders can. But yeah, I think he can play there personally. Under Average Cov fan on YouTube, thank you very much. What's your team for Preston away? I would probably go with, if it was me, I would probably go with Dovin in goal, Eccles right back, Thomas, Binks, De Silva, because obviously Bidwell's out. Midfield three of Sheaf, Torp, Rudoni, and up top, Mason Clark on the left, because I think he needs a run of games on that left. Milan on the right, and you know what? I'm going to go Hadji right up top and play him right up top. Don't let him go on the left-hand side. Play him right up top as that number 9. If it's not Hadji, then I'd go for probably Bissett, because at the minute Sims just isn't doing it. Or maybe Asante. Asante hasn't done too bad, to be fair. So maybe Asante as well. Russ says, let's Al-Bakio. Yeah, definitely. Get behind the boys. Mandeep Singh, agree. Eccles can be deployed as a right back. Latty defensive midfield, protecting the centre-backs. We too easy to pierce. Yeah, totally agree. I think that's not a, you know, I think idea of mine isn't a bad idea. Eccles right back and Latti in central midfield. I could go with that. But you've got to push Milan up. Milan's got to play. Milan's got to play. No surprise to me that now that Casey is left and that Alan is injured, Robbins is our latest scapegoat. Well, look, Josh, on Facebook, there's always a scapegoat in there. You know, if it's not Alan, it's Eccles. If it's not Eccles, it's Latti. If it's not Latti, it's the goalkeeper. You know, and it's just we've got to just something's not right collectively. I get that, but we need to make sure that we start turning things around collectively as well. Alan, I'm sorry, but I don't think Eccles is good enough at this level to play central mid. He isn't clever enough with decision making, gets caught out a lot and out of position, struggles to get back. I slightly disagree. I look, the amount of times that Eccles gets, absolutely battered because he's not good enough, and then in the next two games, people are coming out saying that he's man of the match in that central midfield role. So to be man of the match in some games and not in others, I think again just shows a level of inconsistency rather than not being good enough. And he is good enough. He is good enough. Whether he's good enough for a, promotion fighting team, maybe question marks over that. But he's good enough for the championship. Because like I said, some games is man of the match, other games is not. That's the same with Milan, same with Binks, Sheaf. They're not going to be good every single game. But I just think we need to rein it in a little bit and just get behind the boys, get behind the lads. Glenn says, I'd go Wilson, Milan, Thomas, Kitchen, Binks, De Silva, Latti, Sheaf, Fridoni, Eccles, and Asante in a 3-5-1-1. No, I don't like that. I don't like three at the back. I don't want to go three at the back. It's got to be, for me, it's got to be four. Gusto Audio, thank you very much on YouTube. Binks, De Silva, Bissett and Torp all have had good games and got dropped and not been seen since. Yeah, that's a weird one. De Silva I kind of get because he's always going to give Bidwell probably the benefit of the doubt and give him a go. Torp again has been inconsistent. Bissett and Binks are the one really that I'm more surprised about that they're not getting more game time. Binks especially because I think he's better than Kitchen is. And I think everybody can see that after Saturday's game. But again, we'll have to wait and see. He also thinks we should go Latti, Thomas and Binks back three with MVE and De Silva wing backs, especially without Bidwell and Sakamoto. Again, I don't particularly want to see a back three if I'm honest, but I understand people wanting to change something. Alan said Bissett deserves a start. I thought the last game he played, he did really well. At least he busted a gut. Yeah, he was brilliant against Spurs, hassled them. I think he hit the bar with a header. I don't understand why he's not being played. I don't want to rely all our hopes on a 19-year-old, but that seems to be what we're doing. Under average Cov fan, start, sell, sub, Bissett, Wright, Sims. I'll put that one up because I like that one. Oh, not that one. That one. Start, sell, sub, Bissett, Wright, Sims. Oh, God. To give Wright the benefit of the doubt, I will start Wright, I will sub Bissett, and I would sell Sims. That's what I would do personally. I think Wright, attacking wise, I think Wright offers more. I think he's a bit more of a skillful player. Bissett, you can see that's got drive and passion and will run and run and run. He's young still, so he's got a lot to learn. Sims, for me, probably just isn't offering enough at the moment. If he gets in form, I'll take Sims over Wright. But probably at the moment, I'd go start right, Sal Sims and sub Bissett. I hope that I hope that's okay for you. Eccles or Torp with Shifa Rudoni in the middle, Brandon, Thomas Asante and Bissett up front. Yeah, I could go for that. I'd want to see like a 4-4-2. I know you're looking more like a 4-3 something. I think 2-1 maybe, or a 1-2. I don't know. As Schultz, Bissett needs to be starting. Looks a real prospect with huge salon potential. Yeah, but again, look, Man City were crying out for Phil Foden to start when Pep Guardiola first came, and nobody said anything about that. People were saying he should be starting, and Pep was like, no, he's brilliant, but he's not going to start, and he never started him. And then all of a sudden, he brings him on, he starts, and all of a sudden, switch. It's become the Foden that we know and love. Let's not rush, Bissett. I understand that he's made a really, really good impression. If he's old enough, he's good enough sort of mentality, which is fine. But again, I don't want to. It's the pressure. It's the mental pressure that builds up on a lad, on a younger player, and you don't want him to go back into his shell if he has a few bad games and stuff like that. So I think we need to be careful with Bissett, and I think and Robbins, I think, is doing the right thing. I would like to see him start a bit more. But I think he's doing the right thing in terms of, easing him in a little bit better. So we'll have to wait and see. Is BTA good enough as our main lone striker? I think he is. I think he's shown enough about what he can do. I think he just look, when we press, we don't press as a team, and I think any striker, Sims, Bissett, if we don't press as a team, that lone striker just does a lot of running around for nothing, really. If you remember when we had Vic, when Vic went, O'Hare went, Hamer went, and then Sheaf went, and everybody pushed up. We're not doing that at the moment. When Bissett goes, or Sims goes, or Asante goes, nobody else is following in. So he's just doing a lot of chasing, and nobody's doing anything else. And that's what gets frustrating for the lone striker. Then he stops doing it, and then you're moaning that he's not doing it. But no one else is pressing with him. When we press as a team, we're far better. And that's what we need to keep doing. Joshua, what would be your thinking if you were Oliver Dovin right now? I would probably be saying to myself, why am I out the side? And what do I need to do to get back in that side? So I think criticism is that Ben Wilson's more vocal. So one, he needs to become more vocal then. On the training pitch, he needs to start screaming and shouting at people and, and putting himself about a little bit more. I think he is probably the better goalkeeper. But when you want a leader, when you need somebody to be assertive, that's what he needs to become. So that's what I would be thinking if I was Oliver Dovin right now. I need to become more vocal. That's what the manager wants me to be. That's why I'm probably out the side, because they've been more vocal than I have. So he needs to step up a little bit as well. He's young as well. He's only 19, 20 himself, 21 maybe, 21. So look, he's young as well. For a goalkeeper, he's very young. But I think he's got the potential to be very, very good. Excuse me. Probably the same as Sims. Why did I get dropped? Yeah. But with a striker, it's slightly different. You've got to be putting your chances away. But if you're not being created them chances, then it's a lot harder. So again, it's just, it's hard. Again, when that team isn't pressing together, Sims is running like a headless chicken, because he does make some good runs. But he's just not being seen quick enough because we're not moving the ball quick enough. And again, that's what we need to do. As Schultz, again, thank you. Bissett is the most dynamic out of our front line from the little he's shown, in my opinion, and will catch opposition unaware, i.e. Spurs. Yeah, completely right. Totally agree with that. We just need to make sure that, like I said, we don't burn him out too much, and and if he has bad games, that he doesn't lose his confidence too much. So, we do need to be careful with him. Any possibility that Collins comes back into the team? Can't see it, if I'm honest. Dovin came in as number 1. I think Wilson's definitely number 2. Unless we get a serious injury to one of them two, I can't see him coming back in. Personally, anyway. As says, Dovin, Binks and Bissett need to be brought back in for Preston with Asante nailed on for a starting place. Yeah, probably. Dovin and Binks, definitely. And again, it depends on what he wants to do with Bissett. But we'll have to wait and see. Mandeep, thank you, Mandeep. Shouldn't be selling anyone. Weak enough as it is, least of all Wright, who is our most talented player and the biggest goal threat. No, we're not saying that we're going to sell him. Somebody was just, giving me the option of start Sal, and it's like that snog, marry and avoid kind of thing, isn't it? It's just what you would think. I'm not saying that we do sell him, but if you're giving me the choice over what we do with them 3, and I actually said that we'd play Sims at right instead of Sims. So yeah, no, I agree with that, but I don't want him on the on the left-hand side. I want him up front. I want him as that number 9. I think that's where you might see the best of Wright. Scott Sam, do we overpay in terms of transfer fees? I think it's easy. It's easy to say that. I think every club's going to have their valuation of players. We had a valuation of Vic, didn't we? And we wanted over 20 million. And it's looking like an absolute snip now. It looks too cheap, to be fair. It's just one of them things, and Kitchen was captain of Barnsley when Bobby Thomas there and Collins was there. They got to the playoff final, and he was a good defender for Barnsley. Maybe that's his sort of the top of his tree, as a top League One player and not a Championship player. Some people are like that. Did we play over the odds? Maybe. But look, I think we got Sakamoto at a snip. He could have been a bit more expensive, I suppose. Who else? Ridoni. Sheaf. Looking back at what we paid for Sheaf. So I think it weighs up. Like I said, I think every club has their price that they're happy to pay, and if the club's happy to pay it, then they'll buy and then they'll sell at that. So we'll have to wait and see. Gusto Audio, sorry. What's going on with Rodriguez? Is he the new Laurent Delors? Would be interesting to see exactly we have there, especially now Sakamoto is out again. Yeah. Again, it's another difficult one. He's coming with an injury. The injury's got worse as he's been with us, and then it's just getting up to speed. I think he's in training. As far as I'm aware, he's in training. So you never know. He might be on the bench against Preston. You never know. We'll have to wait and see. Sky Blue Hub, Glenn, Sky Blue Hub, thank you. Would you rather have kept Palmer, O'Hare and tried to get Hamer to stay in hindsight than spending money on new signings? Hindsight's a great thing, isn't it? Look, it's easy to say yes when we're in the position that we are. It's easy to turn around and say yes, but I don't know. I like Ridoni. I think Ridoni will be better than O'Hare and Palmer, to be fair. Torp needs to up his game a bit more for me. I think there's a lot more to come from Torp. We know what he can do. Again, it's that consistency, going back to the consistency word. Everyone just needs to be a bit more consistent. Doug needs to change his policy on non-loan free agents. Doyle and McNally were crucial in getting us to the playoff final. Totally agree. Again, we said it on CWR yesterday. Rob mentioned it as well. We don't want to see 5 or 6 loans. We just want to see 1 or 2 to try and get us to that next level, because we are 1 or 2 players away from being a really, really good side if we've got the consistency to go with it. So we'll have to wait and see. Glenn Scrubby Hub, what do we need to do in January in terms of signings to improve things? I think we need to get 1 or 2 loans in crucial areas, right back to help Milan out. Maybe a left back if Bidwell's going to be out for a length of time, and a central midfielder, because in case Sheaf goes down again. So probably them 3, I would say. Attacking wise, I think we've got enough options, especially if everyone's fit and firing. But yeah, I think them 3 positions are key. If Bidwell comes back quicker than expected, then maybe not a left back, but certainly a right back to help Milan out, and a central midfielder. But as I've mentioned already, I would be happy to see Eccles. I think Eccles would do a really good job at playing right back for us if needed. I really do. And if you had to, and this is where in-game sort of looking at the in-game, what's going on when they're actually playing, right? So if you've got Eccles right back and you've got Latti in that central midfield, and you find that things aren't working and you want to mix it up a little bit, well, push Latti back to centre half and Eccles into midfield, and you go to a back 3 and you've got your wing backs, and then you go forward. So yeah, it's I think you could do that as well. I don't mind the Eccles factor being right back. A lot of people will probably disagree with it and say that's a stupid thing to say, but he's played right wing back and he's played well there before. He can play right back. Him and Milan, will probably have a good understanding with each other. He puts a good tackle in. He can get a good cross. He can overlap Milan. I think it's worth a go and worth a shout. Joshua on YouTube, which player is worth the most in the current market? What of our players? I've probably got to go Milan. Milan on his day is just phenomenal. He will be a Premier League player. He will be a Premier League player, no doubt about it. Hopefully with us at some point. But yeah, on his day, he's got pace, he's got power, he can cross, he can shoot, he can score a free kick, dead ball, long throw. What more do you want in a right back / wing back? Not much. I think he needs to put a few more crosses in, to be fair. But we'll have to wait and see. As Shields, could Binks do a job at central defensive midfielder if needed? Arguably our best defender distributor. Yeah, totally agree. That could work as well. And then, again, putting Binks in there in central midfield, Binks can come back if you want to go to a back 3 and then with wing backs. You wouldn't need Latti then, so people that argue that Latti's there. I would still prefer Binks at centre back personally, just because of that reason. Is our best defender. But yeah, Binks and Sheaf, I think, could do a job as well. Binks, Sheaf and Rudoni. It'd be interesting if he did ever mix it up like that and do that sort of thing. I'll put that one up because I like that comment. Thank you, Alan. He says, you're dead right. I'd love if Robbins took Eccles out of central midfield and put him at right back or the bench. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. I just saw the dead right bit. Oh, sorry. You're not a fan then, Alan, no? Josh, are we not going back to square pegs in round holes with players playing in different positions? Not with the ones that I've mentioned, I don't think, no. Because Eccles has played there before. So I think that's a round peg in a round hole. And Latty's played in midfield. Binks, yes, I would argue that that's maybe a square peg in a round hole. But Latty and Eccles, no, I don't think so. I think that makes sense, if I'm honest. But yeah. Russ, thank you, Russ. Raphael getting ever closer to fitness, got to build up his strength up for the rigours of English football. Let's see what happens when he steps on the turf. Yeah, totally agree, mate. Absolutely, totally agree. So just a reminder then for people that are listening and watching, thank you very much. Next week, I believe on Tuesday, Mark of All Things Sky Blue will be doing his debate show. And then on the Wednesday, I will be recording a Preston preview ahead of the Preston game. So look out for them things as well. Is there any further questions or anything that you want to ask? Is there any shout outs that you want to ask? While I'm waiting for other questions and stuff to come through. Again, just remember where you can find us. We are on X or Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Please go and like and subscribe. Please share it around as well. There's some mental health videos on there, as well as match previews and talking to ex-players, Mickey Quinn, John Williams, Frank Musa, Michael Misford, to name a few. So have a look at that as well. We're sponsored by Right Steel Fabrications. His logo is in the corner there somewhere. And we're partnered with the Anecdote Sports Bar and the Sky Blue Tavern. If you listen to us on podcast, please go and rate us 5 stars. And if you're watching on YouTube, please go and like and subscribe. It is free to like and subscribe. We're getting ever closer to our 600 mark, which would be amazing if we ever got to that. It would be brilliant. Russ says, right, it's win or lose for me now. No in between. Okay. Look, a point away at Preston, I'll probably take that if I'm honest, as long as we see a performance. But I think if we perform, I think we win. You know, we've got a couple of good games with teams in and around us. If we can get a couple of wins, we'll be okay. I think we'll be all right. Joshua, favourite ever moment as a Cov fan? It's got to be one of the Wembley trips, I think. Were amazing. Man United, Wolves was fantastic. Playoff final, apart from obviously the result. Yeah. Glenn said we've hit over 600 plays for the Swansea Review podcast. Fantastic. Stephen McGovern, thank you, Stephen. Bissett, Asante, and Tavares up front to get into them, but EMC on the bench, lazy and uninterested. EMC, really? I'm not sure. I just think he's been played out of position. I think if you played him on the right, I think it would be slightly different. Glenn said a week is a long time in the Championship, definitely. Alan, you never see Robbins in conversation on the side and with Boateng. Adi was always by his side. Yeah, we mentioned that on CWR the other day, yesterday, and they've been told now that then there's only one person allowed in that box, and you're going to see that as Robbins. So they are doing that. They are talking, I think, but AD wouldn't this season. AD wouldn't be allowed in that box next to Robbins anyway. So I think that's a little bit harder. Stan Hardy, listening from Philadelphia, USA. Nice. Thank you very much, Stan. Any questions? Glenn's asked you a question, Stan. Thoughts on Haji Wright? Will he start for the USA? What's your thoughts on that, Stan? Glenn's also said things change very quickly. They do. And if you don't already, Stan, please go and like and subscribe to our YouTube channel because I can see you watching on there. Let's see if we can get this. See if we can get a reply from Stan. Must be. Is it late over there, Stan? Are you behind or ahead of us? I don't know. Okay. Well, we've been going 40. Oh, here we go. Another one coming through. Dave. Hiya, Dave. Hope you're well. Things might change quickly, but let's be honest, they better had. Yeah, definitely, totally agree. Stephen McGovern, do you play Wilson in Cole? Probably not. Stan said, I'm currently driving home from work. It's nearly 4 p.m. Okay, so you're behind us then by... You're 6 hours behind, pretty much then, I think. Alan said, I wonder just how much info AD would give to Robbins before and during games because Robbins is looking lost. Again, I think it's easy to say that because you've just seen him on his own a lot, and that's because of the rules that are enforced this year. You know, I'm sure that 5 hours behind. Thanks, Stan. What do you think to Haji Wright, Stan? Do you think he'll start for the USA? Yeah, I think it's an easy, not an easy out as such. I'm not saying that I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is because he's on his own in the technical area, you know, AD wouldn't be, like you said, AD wouldn't be allowed in there this year. And you do see other other coaches standing up and stuff, and Robin sitting down. So yeah, I think it's easy to say that he's looking lost, but I think it's because of the new rules and stuff. I'm sure that if the coaches were allowed to stand next to him, they would be next to him and talking to him a little bit more than probably what we're seeing. I'm not using that as an excuse. It just might be the case. That's all I'm saying. Let's see if Stan gets back about Haji Wright. Are you a Coventry fan, Stan, first of all? Or are you just watching us because you're watching something on your way home from work? Oh, here he goes. I like Wright, I should say. But he needs to pull his finger out. Hopefully, Poch will play him as an actual striker for the USA. That's exactly what I've said. And I've said that he's been lazy for a while now. Not just this year, going back to last year as well. I know he scored 19 goals, and people argue that he played some of the best football, which is fine. But he still, I think his goals took away from what he didn't do. And we had, Sheaf was fully fit at the time as well, probably. Sheaf's just coming back from an injury. It's going to take him a little bit longer. Stan, yes, I am. Born and bred Coventry. Nice. Where are you actually from in Cov, Stan? I was over in August, went the first 3 games, got to see 2 wins. Well, at least you got to see 2 wins, Stan. At least you got to see 2 wins. To be fair, I think we've only have we won? How many have we won? We've only won. We've won 3, haven't we? So out of the all the games that we've played, we've only won 3. Have we won 3? Blackburn. Just trying to think now. How many have we won, guys? How many games have we won? Have we won 2 or 3? Mandeep says, "Get back here, Stan. Obviously a good luck omen." Definitely. Bristol City in the cup. Okay, and Oxford at home. Yeah, I'm sure. We beat Oxford, and I'm sure we've only won 2. Oxford and Blackburn. It's good that you saw them 2 wins. Yeah, 2. I thought it was. Couldn't remember if it was 2 or 3. I couldn't remember the third, so I couldn't remember the third because we haven't won 3. A week on Saturday, we'll have our 3rd win. Tynan, how are you? Has tactical predictability played a factor in our poor start to the season? Yes, maybe slightly. I don't want to use it as an excuse, but maybe. I went to Stoke away. We couldn't hit a barn door. Yeah, I was at Stoke as well. It was awful. Couldn't believe what I saw, especially because a few weeks before that, we played Everton at home in the pre-season and we annihilated them. And then we just go and show that performance. Shocking. Absolutely shocking. Right, I'll be on for about another 8 minutes or so, and then I'll be at the hour mark. So if there's any further questions, please bring them in now, and we'll start winding down. As it's hot in this room as well. Yeah, it's tactical predictability. Yeah, I think it has. I'll go back to that question. Yeah, I think it has played a part. It's like when we were playing a back 3, though, and that's why I don't want us to go to a back 3. I much prefer us as a back 4. I think we're better as a back 4. Alan was over last year from Dublin. Well, thank you very much, Alan, for 4 games, which were all wins. Unfortunately, was over at the Swansea game last month. Oh dear. Sky Blue Sam, would you like to see a proper assistant manager hired? Yes, is the answer to that. I can answer that quite quickly and easily. Yes. I think with Anthony Hornsby on CWR yesterday when I was on with him. He made a good point that we've probably made too many changes too soon in the backroom staff. Maybe we should have done Boateng and Carr and an assistant manager and waited for a little bit longer if we were going to bring up sort of Delaney and I can't remember the other guy's name now. So yeah, Graham Cottrell. Thank you very much, Graham. Hi, Stuart. There seems to be a problem with the coaching back staff. Yes, I am in a slight agreement with you. Nobody really, us as fans, don't know what they're doing because it's not being emulated with what they're doing out onto the pitch. But we've got to hope that they can turn it around. They've shown that they can play. When we played Blackburn, when we played Watford first half, Oxford. I know we leaked 2 easy goals, but Oxford game was a good game as well. We can do it. We can do it. And these managers, we just need to see more consistency. That's all I'm going to say. Under average cup fan, how's the FPL team going? It's going all right, actually. I'll tell you where I am. Fantasy. So I'm first in one league, I'm second in two leagues, third in another, and fourth and eighth. I'm eighth in the All Things Sky Blue League, which isn't too bad. We're only, 5 games, 6 games, 7 games in? 7 games in. So I'm not doing too bad. Thoughts on the road closure for post-match? Personally, I think it's a good idea. I think there was accidents waiting to happen with people trying to cross the road. For me as a fan walking, up the road and stuff, it makes it a lot safer and a lot quicker. I know it's not good for people that want to get down to the M6 and, go into Tesco's and drive through and things like that. I get that. But as a fan walking across that road, I think it's the right thing to do. It seems to divide fans. Some are infuriated by it, others don't seem to be impacted. No, I think it's a good. I would walk over the bridge anyway. But yeah, it is one of them that it does divide fans, but I'm happy with it. Like I said, it makes my life easier going to be picked up. So, but I understand that it's not everyone's cup of tea. Sky Blue Sam says, I'd sack Dr. Clare, bring in Gavin Strachan, sign Matty James, and then start asking RE Premier League loans for January. Again, it's just because we don't know what that Dr. Clare really does. I know she's. I don't know. Nobody really knows what she does, and that I'm not sure Gavin Strachan's the answer, though. To be fair, but I'd sign Matty James. He's still available on a free. So yeah, it's one of them. Graham says we lost a leader on and off the pitch. You know who I'm on about. I presume you're on about Fads. I'm presuming anyway. Correct me if I'm wrong, Graham. We are missing leaders, definitely. 100% we're missing leaders, but that's where I think Latty can come into that. I think he is a leader. He's captain some of the time when Sheaf isn't there. I think he can be that leader, and he puts a good tackle in and is not afraid. Yes, big time. Is Torpen lucky not to be starting? Probably, but again, it's inconsistency. It's like everybody. Everybody at the moment is inconsistent. I'd appoint Boateng as our number 2. Yeah, maybe, but again, you've got to question. I'm sure there's a number 2 out there that you can go and get that maybe had a bit more coaching experience. But Clive mentioned that when Adi came into that position, he'd only, been with the Chelsea youth side and stuff. So, it's not always the deemed way. Mourinho never played football. I think Wenger only played, semi-pro or something in France. So some of the really, really good managers never really played at a high level. But yeah, I think there needs to be a clear number 2. I am in agreement with you there, Glenn. I'd go back in for Hyam if he's available. Yeah, possibly. Possibly. But do fans want to see us go backwards and sign in, ex-players? I know people would love to have, obviously, Vic or Hamer back, but I don't know. If Robbins walks tomorrow, who would you want as manager? There's only 2 that come to my mind, and both aren't available, and that's Liam Rossini and Michael Carrick. They would be the two that I would want in. Off the top of my head anyway. But they're not available. So who else do I want? I want Robbins. And I hope he doesn't go. I really do. Stephen, most of our team have been captains at various clubs. They need a bit of self-leadership. Yeah, I totally agree. Home is a leader, though. He was captain. Yeah, and he's captain at Blackburn as well, I think. Rossini could improve our defence given what he did at Hull last season. I like Rossini a lot. I think, don't... Stan has just put Frank Lampard. I don't want Frank Lampard anywhere near our club. I know apparently he is friends with... he knows Doug King or something, or there's some relationship there. I don't want Frank Lampard. I'd be annoyed if Frank Lampard came as our manager if Robbins went. Rossini or Carrick are the two that I would want. Aside from that, I'd have to see who would be in the running for it. But I think, like I said, I think Robbins has got till Christmas, regardless of, the next sort of run of fixtures. Honestly, don't want a name manager. You don't want to name him. I don't want to. Honestly, don't want a name manager. What do you mean by that? Do you mean that you don't want to name a manager because you want Robbins, or you want somebody that we haven't heard of? Rather go and get someone like Scabala at Lincoln, good coach with interesting, fresh ideas. Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe that's the way. Maybe that's the way to go. But like I said, I don't want a big name manager like Gerrard or Lampard or Terry. No, I don't want either. I don't want any of them three. I love Gerrard to bits, and he should never have gone over to Saudi. I understand why he did, but he shouldn't have done it. But yeah, I don't want any of them three either. Because it doesn't always work out. But Rossini did well at Derby, under two at Robbins, under Rooney, and then Rooney went to America and he did okay there, and then he got the Hull job and he did brilliant at Hull. Someone in the mould of Thomas Frank at Brentford has fresh ideas and gets maximum from the squad with limited resources. Yeah, but have we got limited resources now? That's the thing. Have we got limited resources? I'm not sure. Excuse me. Okay, so I've been on for an hour then. Thank you, everybody. Thanks to everyone who's watched and who's commented. I try and do these every other week, but it has been a while since I've last done one. So, yeah, please go and like and subscribe. Dave says, top show, mate. See you soon. See you soon, Dave. Thanks, Unc. Or my Uncle Dave there. Thanks, everyone that's listened, everyone that's come in. Much appreciated. See you all soon. Play up Sky Blues.